Good afternoon, everyone. Last night there were two brazen shootings in the city resulting in multiple victims. We're asking for the public's assistance in providing us with information that will help us identify the persons that are responsible. So last night at about 10 p.m., members of the 3rd District responded to this 1300 block of Columbia Road Northwest for the report of a shooting. When they arrived, they located 5 adult male victims and 1 adult female victim, all suffering from gunshot wounds. DC Fire and EMS personnel responded to the scene and transported 5 of the victims to local hospitals for treatment. 1 of the adult male victims displayed no signs consistent with life and was pronounced on the scene and later transported to the office of the chief medical examiner. The decedent is identified as 21-year-old Vincent Carter of Southeast DC. The additional victims received treatment at area hospitals. 4 are currently in stable condition. 1 of the surviving victims is listed in critical condition. Our preliminary investigation has determined that a vehicle turned in the alley behind me. Suspects from inside the vehicle opened fire on a group that had gathered in the courtyard. The vehicle is described as a 4-door gray or silver-colored sedan. It's pictured in the poster to my right. The vehicle was last seen fleeing in the rear alley of a residential building in the 1300 block of Columbia Road and turning on Irving Street. We do not have a motive at this time, but we do have intelligence that 3 of the victims are members of a local crew. A firearm was recovered from the scene in the area of the shooting. I have one of my officers go take a look at that.
Can you start that thought again?
I'm sorry?
Can you start that thought again?
I sure can. We do not have a motive at this time, but we do have intelligence that 3 of the victims are members of a local crew. A firearm was recovered from the area of the shooting, but we do not believe that is one of the firearms that was used in the shooting. About 30 minutes after this shooting, at approximately 10:20 p.m., members of the 5th District responded to the 1300 block of Brentwood Road Northeast for the report of the sound of gunshots. When they arrived, they located an adult male and an adult female inside of an establishment suffering from gunshot wounds. A 3rd victim, another adult male, was located in the 1400 block of Rhode Island Avenue, also with a gunshot wound. DC Fire and EMS responded, transported all of the 3 victims to local hospitals. The adult male that was located inside of the establishment was pronounced dead. The other 2 were treated for their injuries and were released. The decedent in the case is identified as 20-year-old Sean Coleman Bay of Northeast DC. At this point in the investigation, we do not have a motive, but we believe that the decedent was the intended target and that the 2 surviving victims were bystanders. The suspect in this case was described as wearing a mask and gloves. We have a lookout for a pickup truck. Our detectives have recently obtained images of that, which our public information officer will be distributing you for assistance. I obviously want to extend my condolences to the families who have lost a loved one to unnecessary gun violence. I think both of these cases illustrate suspects who have no regard for human life. In each of these cases, the suspects came up, fired multiple times in public areas without any consideration for where those bullets were going to land. We are asking for the public's assistance. If you have information relative to either one of these shootings, please give us a call on 202-727-9099, or you can text us at 50411. As a reminder, the Metropolitan Police Department offers a $25,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest and the conviction in any of our homicides. We can take any questions that you all might have.
Chief, do you have evidence from the shell casings found at the scene that the weapon used here was a long gun?
We do have an indication from the evidence that we've recovered that it was a high-powered weapon that was used on the scene. At least one of the weapons.
And can you confirm that 4 of the 6 victims have prior firearms charges?
That is accurate. 4 of the victims in this case have prior firearms charges. I think at least one of those 4 had 2 prior firearms charges.
Does that include the dead victim?
I'm sorry?
Does that include the dead victim?
The victim, in this case, the decedent, did not have a prior firearms charge.
You say he's from Southeast, but I found a couple of arrests from him in this area. Do you know if he has ties to this neighborhood or this community?
Apparently, he does have a tie to this neighborhood. He was obviously here last night.
Is he one of the crew members?
Peter, I can let you know afterwards on that.
What kind of weapon was discovered as part of this case last night?
We do not know. All we have not recovered. You're talking about the weapon that we did recover?
Recovered one
Yeah.
handgun, rifle. What would you
I'm
say?
sorry. Good question. The weapon that we recovered was a handgun.
And it is related to the case, you believe, or maybe
We do not believe it was one of the weapons that was fired here last night. Could very well be related, but we don't believe it was one of the weapons that was fired.
Chief, I'd like to ask you and the mayor, you've often said we've got to get guns off the street. People are asking how.
It's very simple as to how. If you see a firearm, I think sometimes people are reluctant to call, particularly if it's someone they know. Firearms, what they do in this community is they destroy lives. They kill people, they injure people, and the people who are on the other end of the gun oftentimes end up in jail. So if you find somebody, you see somebody with a firearm, please report it to us. They're better off with us taking the firearm than having other consequences that can occur.
So, Chief, I noticed that the homicides last year were above 2017. I looked at the numbers yesterday. This year they're above 2018. Any amelioration in sight? I mean, what do you think? I mean, are we going into bad times again?
I certainly hope not. We have seen in the last couple of years an increase in the number of shootings that we've had in our city. We can attribute that to the prevalence of firearms that we have in the city. I think we need to put our heads together and find a way to get these illegal firearms out of our community.
Let me just add
Go
to
ahead.
Chris's statement. Your question was, what can the community do about guns? And I want to just amplify what the chief has said. The folks who discharged these guns last night, they live somewhere, they parked their vehicle somewhere. Someone who knows them and loves them knew about these guns, more than likely. And so we need family members and friends to help these people, probably young men, get the help that they need. The people who were doing the shooting and the people who got shot were all people that we want to come in for intense services. We have been able to put those types of services in the community. Our Office of Neighborhood Safety can get people the help that they need, but they have to come forward for the help. Being a victim, let's be clear, 6 people being shot on a well-populated street like this puts everyone's life in danger. And we need to get those guns off the street and the people off the street who did the shooting.
Mayor, what do you think of the fact that, according to the chief just now, 4 of the 5 people, I'm assuming the men, had some sort of prior gun charge against them?
Well, it's what we've been saying at a number of occasions, Sam, that there are a small group of people who are causing harm in our city. A small group of people who are doing the shooting, and very frequently the people who are the victims are also in need of a lot of services. So we need people to come in and seek help. We need family members to let us know about guns, because what we have here is 1 dead resident and 4 others who have been victimized. And what we also know about situations like this is that it could lead to more violence. And so what we're asking everybody to do is get in touch with us to seek the help that they need before their son or nephew or friend or boyfriend is the subject of this conversation.
Chief, you said crew. What do you mean there? You said 3 were part of some. Explain that, please.
So we, in our intelligence unit, we identify folks that are involved in crews here in the city. 3 of the victims in this case were identified with a local crew. We don't talk, we never call crews out by name because we don't want to give them that public attention.
But the crew is the people who live here? Is that pretty much it?
It's a crew that we've identified as being involved in criminal activity.
Chief, I noticed in your firearms recoveries weekly press release that you put out that I counted 9 of the weapons that you picture had extended clips in them. Are you seeing more and more of these extended clips, and are we seeing more fire rounds in the city than we have ever before?
You know, I haven't done an analysis on the amount of extended clips, but I can say it certainly seems like we're seeing more and more of the extended clips. As you know, Paul, the extended clips are illegal here in the District of Columbia. We're very active in trying to get the extended clips out of our city, and we've been very successful in that regard. We recover between 17 and 1,800 firearms a year here in this city. And I do think that the extended clip is attributing to some of the fatality that we've seen with our homicides. If you have more rounds, obviously more rounds are flying. The likelihood of more serious and fatal injuries is going to increase.
For clarity's sake, just to be clear, the two incidents we're addressing today do not appear to be related in any way.
Yeah, right now, matter of fact, the lookouts for the vehicles are completely different. We have not seen any association between the victims in the two cases. The only thing that we have between the two cases is they happened about 20 minutes apart.
Chief, was it related?
Every single camera in this area, within blocks of this area, could be critical. That's why we would ask any homeowners in the area that have cameras anywhere within, a number of blocks of this area, please take a look. If you saw something that might resemble one of these vehicles, please give the Metropolitan Police Department a call.
Are they all working?
I'm sorry?
Are all the cameras working?
I don't have a rundown on the cameras that were or were not working. I have not had any reports that we had any malfunctioning cameras today.
Is it in any way related to the killing in March of the other gentleman?
We're not that far along in the investigation, but that's certainly something we will look at.
And Chief, could you further clarify or characterize how many shots may have been fired last night?
It was multiple shots. Yeah, it was.
Dozens, hundreds, I don't know.
It was less than 100, but it was certainly more than we should tolerate in this community.
Let me just also thank our council member for Ward 1, Nadeau, for being with us, along with the single member district commissioner, Dottie Love Wade. And I also want to acknowledge that we have spent some time in this community with a number of our resources from around the government, from talking to the community and property owner about playgrounds, which came out of our last walk in the community, lighting, came out of our walk, housing conditions in and around this location. So all of the resources of the government we bring to bear to make sure we have safer communities.
Mayor,
Yes.
Mayor, is the one's office here with the violence interrupters?
Yes.
Do you know if they've identified and working with the crew that the chief described here?
I wouldn't be able to talk about that.
All right,
Thank you.